They fantasize, I analyze, I am the eyes. Yeah. They stand and lie, I stand in truth. That's my I am alive, I am alive, I am alive. I channel God, the frequency lives inside. Delinquencies leave aside, just look inside. I promise you'll find bodies the synagogue. You lie to self, then you sin to God. I take the end of lines, put it in a loop, then I tie a knot. This eternal life, this is Heka'u. We can never die, we are immortalized. They live mortal lives, I am more than man, I have God inside. Whoa. Opened the door and then I got inside. Found my inner child, gave him a hug, told him I love him, we gon' be alright. And then I gave a smile, you made me more than proud. Shed some tears, let us scream aloud, a stand in pride. Grabbed his hand, it was the hand of God, our fingers five. Double time, we put hands to sky. Raise them high, raise them high. This is dua. Praise himself, praise each other, praise to health, that is the root to wealth. Praise comes from her, and it means to sell. See, that's what preachers do, buying souls, selling hell. Disguised as heaven, pushing P. Differences between prophet and prophecy. The Bible is a prop to see the lies of man, portraying God open-eyed to see. Read. Telling tales of wanderings, I've been wondering, they don't know that we're the real wonders. Miracles, when I speak it thunders, literal. You feel it under your flesh when your organs start to rumble. Heartbeat, you're listening to vibrations as my heart speaks. Stretch minds, I have far reach. Raj General, this is our me. This is pinnacle. Step on sinister, everyone is demons these days. Trust me, once you step to us, you will not leave as you came. See, we ain't the same, raising names. Real fame comes from Ba, it means to speak, to say. I have lots to say. My ancestors taught me how to pray, ask and receive. Given that you live in reciprocity, our Ba shall speak through you to give our message of praise. Hands raised, this is dua. This is dua. Light body emerges Kaaba. Give me high five. Hands up. This ain't a stick up. This is dua. Giving praise. They're only giving praise when they receive a raise. Like thank God. I receive a raise as I rise up every single day. Raise comes from res, giving life the sun's rays, hands embrace. Consciousness extinct, even the ones who think they are woke are still asleep. Resi means to watch and it deals with what you see. Resi means to dream and it's the tongue of the speech. Watch what you speak, bring dreams to reality. Watchtower, watch me tower over with power. This is more than album, this is pure magic. Creation vibrations, layers on layers. Prayers on prayers, demon slayers, soul cakes of fire, caught up in a rapture like I need a baker. The Lord has risen, watch the bread rise, to give sustenance. I've seen death eyes, the moon is my left eye. Praise Yah, dua.
This is House of ATTON. I don't have a mask on. I'll tell you all what happened.
I see they got the facts wrong, flow fluid. Walk with ancestors like Anpu is. Who's this? Greek named Anubis. Prove it. I see bodies walking around soulless, clueless. Ani Ptah, don't compare me to Steve Jobs. Call me Ptah Sakar. If you need to do more research, search Ray. Hands in vagina plays when pray. Spitting seeds into the womb to birth and raise. See, that's parades. Give thanks like it's in your hands. Collecting plates, ancient stelae. Step through fire. See, we trailblaze. Fate and faith. This is knowledge. Facts will flip a fake. Tell me what's at stake to give thanks. Hands raised. This is dua. This is dua. Light body emerges Kaaba. Give me high five. Hands up. This ain't a stick up. This is dua. I'm complete while I am sleeping on my sled. Though I'm never asleep, not even when I'm dead. I will never die, eternal life, awake while in my dreams. I taught them how to shed. God is I, open portals, they'd rather watch strange instead. Stranger things in the double realm, like it's upside down. Feet replace the head. SCRIIBE Sessions Volume 1. For the record. Open your eye in alignment with time and you'll see the truth like it's a physical thing. From the darkness I arise, so it's not a surprise when you learn of the light that I bring. As above, so below, I find a rhythm and flow as I grow with the pendulum swing. This is the matrix where everyone's faking they sleep here in life while we wake up in dreams. Shedding the skin like a serpent, this work makes it worth it. Attaining a purpose while searching internal, examine what all is in me. Most will not make it there, so can I take it? Reality shaking, you've seen what I've seen. Reap what you sow, with the weavers of speech, achievers, and this is the read 'em and weed 'em. You cannot read them, vibrations that none of them speak. Walk a metal netter, light is feather, is heavy to learn that your will isn't free. Natural willing, I continue to lead with my evils. I'm sweeping my consciousness clean. Training in realms that are unseen, my aura is some set fire to all of the fiends. Stand on my eye, this is all seeing. I we supply 93, that means we are supreme. Healing through tones on my senses, connecting in this year. Wealthy is health, this is green. This is illusion, reality veiled in delusion. Thoughts become intrusive, it's foolish to not know by now that it ain't what it seems. This is way more than belief. I see clearly the lies. My six senses of sight are hypnotized. No wonder everyone sleeps. It's time to set off the alarm. The performance self-harm. Don't you know you're a star? I got a human form and you rise with the beast. More than man. Bread in my hand, that's the Lord in hand. Heard what I said, Lord, live in the man. Light is sought after, it's in the man. Come from the inundation lands. Light is sought after, it's in the man. Come from the inundation lands. We ain't the same man. Record keeper. Seeing the state of the planet, the damage, the famines expanding beyond your belief. I see they landed, they've handed the people a cannon and aiming it right at your feet. Blowing the hole where you're standing, creating the panic. The tactical planning is deep. Teaching you're only a man and that God is in heaven, the seventh outside of your reach. If you're the question, they'll call you a manic, frantic, erratic, depression, demonic. When you're teaching through the magical speech, they'll call you serpent, the one in the garden. Pardon my knowledge for having the knowledge and prowess to see. He really told the truth to Adam and Eve. You'll have to think between good and evil if you eat of the fruit of the tree. Now you're a god, open your eye, cleansing yourself so that now you can see. They stole the stories and twisted them like it's a spliff. They put the fire to leaf, I put the fire to speech. I put the fire to heat. We don't do liars and thieves, they just desire to greed. This is my record to keep, this is my throne. You cannot sit in my seat. And I command it, I give more than 10 commandments. This is the law of attraction, and we have infinite stamina. My stage is where I'm standing. This is my eye, God is in me. I only keep goddesses with me. They are the magical beings, they are the holy ones. Birthing the gods, we're overcoming the odds. We are the even and odd, they're in the odds, we're in the awe. Ancestors answer my prayers, forever grateful. I will forever say thank you. Inspiration to awake the sleepers. Record keeper, more than man. Bread in my hand, that's the Lord in hand. Heard what I said, Lord, live in the man. Light is sought after, it's in the man. Come from the inundation lands. Light is sought after, it's in the man. Come from the inundation lands. We ain't the same man. Record keeper, more than man. Bread in my hand, that's the Lord in hand. Heard what I said, Lord, live in the man. Light is sought after, it's in the man. Come from the inundation lands. Light is sought after, it's in the man. Come from the inundation lands. We ain't the same man. Record keeper.
You and your family health and prosperity. May your monument be established on the foundations of Ma'at, and may you rise and come forth as conscious light, like the divine Ra, who rise and shine forevermore. Ptah.
I look outside in awe, I see our people double-minded. People meaning creature, don't ignore the signage. Voices lead, though flying silent. Observation with my eye open eyelid. Look outside in awe, I see our people double-minded. People meaning creature, don't ignore the signage. Voices lead, though flying silent. Observation with my eye open eyelid. I am him, king, crown, rings, Nesu, I am in. Mindset of when fighting jinns. Sword, swang, samurai, I am Shem. Su, Hor, son of Heru, I am him. King, crown, rings, Nesu, I am in. Mindset of when fighting jinns. Sword, swang, samurai, I am Shem. Su, Hor, son of Heru. Words powerful, Hekau. See, prove you can feel the roots. Gone, just look up, I am proof. Breaking doors down, make some room. But I is now speaking through me, and trust me. All right, Hotep, peace and love. Welcome to the House of Aten, Ancient Tehutian Teachings of Natiru. And we have a special class today given by the great brother Anu. Who is Marduk? Part 2. What is the meaning of his name? As there are many. So this great brother is going to take us down a wonderful journey. So before we begin, we will start with the wonderful affirmation on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Anki en ma'at, un en es, nintet aset en ma'at, min hapapet en ma'at, her en hu kiwi, per e kut. I live from ma'at. I exist within her. I do not speak in the place of ma'at. Every day I advance towards ma'at. My being is surrounded in darkness. I come forth as conscious light. All right, Hotep Henu, peace and love, everyone. As you all begin to come into class on this wonderful Tuesday. It's a beautiful thing. As I know, most people are used to just the Sunday classes, but when the great Karu want to bring forth a presentation, it's a beautiful thing that we can provide a platform for this to take place. So I am Ani Ptah Aten Tehuti. I am the scribe of the House of Atten, great student of Saba Tehuti Amenhotep Ra, great student of the ancient scribes who wrote and documented the laws of Ma'at, such as Ptah Hotep, Amenemope. And I am the lead organizer here at the House of Atten. I also want to make sure I introduce the great brothers who are usually with us. You'll see them on Sundays and during the week. Schedules can mix, so I also want to give a shout out to the great brother Tefrim Kim Ma'at, Minku Ara Mary Ma'at, and Primordial Thought 9. These great brothers are part of the leadership here at the House of Aten and are very important pillars that help hold up the movement and keep this thing flowing. So Hinu and Tuat to the great brothers. Hope everyone is doing well. And I will now introduce one of the great Kuru. Kuru is the Medu Neter word for a household member, and it is the title of those who are within the membership of the House of Aten. It's a very powerful tone. And this great brother here is, he leads by example in so many different ways. It's a beautiful thing. This great brother here is the moderator as well for here at the House of Aten. And he does a fantastic job of doing that. And shout out to his lovely mate, Antu, as well. So Henu Hotep to Anu. Peace and love, great brother. How you doing?
Peace and love, Urdasen. I'm doing great. Looking forward to presenting another class for this opportunity. Hanu to you, Hanu to Atef, Hanu to Menku, Hanu to Primordial Thought, Hotep Marie, to all of you.
Yes, Hotep. I think that your mic may be a little low. Antu, if you're able to listen on the playback, let us know if his mic is low, because I want to make sure that they can hear you clearly whenever you go to present.
Does it sound a little louder now?
Sounds about the same.
Mic check.
Okay, let's do this. All right, now speak.
Hotep, Uncle Justin Evans.
Yes, there we go. We'll turn your mic volume up in the settings here. Make sure they hear you loud and clear. All right. So, before we get started, I'll go through a couple of announcements. Yeah, she says mic is low. Okay. Let us know if it's better. We turned it up a little bit. So yes, before we go through, we'll go through a couple announcements. houseofatton.org. Go and get your houseofatton.org merch. We are the only movement that is organizing under the vibrational tone and consciousness of the Natiru existing. This is what the great ancestors who wrote and brought forth the Natiru that everyone today loves to study and loves to wear the Ma'at necklaces and wear the Heru, but no one is truly walking around with the same consciousness as the ones who brought it forward. And so this is why we are the House of Aten, as you see at the top, and down below the Natiru exist. This is where you can go to support the movement. There are many things coming, as always. But here you see House of Aten. And we have wonderful apparel for everyone to support with. All different colors, all different types, crew necks, long sleeves. Nowhere in the summers, you got short sleeves. We got youth clothing as well for the young ones. So tuahinu to everyone who has supported and who are leaving reviews. We also have social media. Antu is our fantastic social media manager here at the House of Aten. She does a fantastic job of making sure that there's always content being pushed out on all of our platforms. So we have a link tree that will take you to our Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, WhatsApp. I also have a WhatsApp here for those who want to reach out. Great brothers and sisters who reach out from all over the planet, South Africa, Ghana, all over the planet here. And you can do this if you do not have certain type of phone communications. You can utilize WhatsApp and reach out, and we always find ways to build. And for those who want to support the movement who don't utilize Cash App or PayPal, we have other means as well for those who want to support. So here's the WhatsApp, Discord. We have a Spotify where the great Nefertatan, she takes the classes and she condenses them to just the teachings and then uploads them in audio form to the Spotify. So you can listen to it there. I also create tones, music, spoken word poetry. And here is my SoundCloud and website, scribe.io with 3 I's, SCRIIBE.io. And that link is also in the bio if you want to listen to the tones. SCRIIBE Sessions Volume 1 is out, and you can participate in that. And there's also music that I release through singles and many great things coming. So you can listen to the music here. Here is the Cash App, our email, as well as the, let me turn this down, as well as the Patreon. The Patreon is there for those who may not be ready to join the movement, but still want to partake in being able to watch some of the non-public conversations and debates. So you can go here to the Patreon, and you will be able to Let me pull this up so everyone can see. So I want everyone to know where you can participate and support the House of Aten, and there's many different ways. And also the Pathways to Awakening. The very first one, we documented and recorded it, and it is available here on Patreon. So here at the Patreon, just $5 a month, extremely affordable. Here is the Pathways to Awakening, the digitized experience, hour and 5 minutes and 33 seconds. This is our annual Pathways to Awakening. We have one coming up this month in October for all the great students who are within the House of Aten. Tuahotep and Henu, looking forward to seeing everyone. And you can purchase this and see what a gathering of the House of Aten looks like, sounds like, and what takes place. So this is a very powerful event. So you can purchase this here. This is the only place where this is available. And here is some debates from the great Saba Tehuti, Truth Ministries, Yasha Ben Israel, and Jabari Osaze. So you can join the Patreon to watch these two debates here. So Tua Hinu to everyone who is subscribed to the Patreon. And lastly, I will show the membership. So here you can join us. Join our membership. This right here is what's taking place here is historical. And if you want to be a part of it, this is your doorway to do so. And here are 3 levels of participation that you can take place in. Level 1, 2, and 3, which is Keru, Ua, or Wa, Keru Sin, and Keru Kemet. And this is how you say 1, 2, and 3. And in each one of these sections, details what each provides. We host private classes. I give a class every single Friday called Ma'at Fundamental Friday classes, where we go over the Seba'it, which is the Medunetter word for instructions or teachings, the Seba. And for example, it's the teachings of Ptah Hotep, also known as the oldest book on the planet. And I go through and we take our time to read, look at the Medu, and I go through and teach on that. And this is the guidance that the great ancestors left us in this time, which is more prevalent today than ever, with all of the confusion and all of the chaos that's taking place around us. The guidance of Ma'at and the ones who are guiding the great ancestors, the Tepa Ui, alongside the Hapi, 4,200 kilometers, what people know as the Nile Valley. There were great sages, as people know them as today, wisdom teachers, scribes, such as Ptah Hotep, who were today would be famous in a sense. Their names carried throughout the millennia, throughout the times, and they were written about consistently. And so these were the ones who were bringing forth the teachings and the guidance. And so as a scribe, this is something that I dedicate a lot of attention to and bring forward to also make sure that this is available for those who truly want the guidance and how to maneuver and live within Ma'at here today. So that is one of the benefits of being a member of Ma'at Fundamental Fridays. So if you'd like to join us, this is how you do so. And again, Tua to everyone who leaves a review here. And here's how you donate as well. If you do not have Cash App or PayPal, you can do the donation tip jar here. So with that, I will put the banner on the bottom of the screen for everyone who is to come in. And if you appreciate what the great brother is bringing forth, if you appreciate the the House of Aten and all that you see. We appreciate and love everyone who supports, which is why you are the Maru. It means supporter or partisan. And it also creates the word for the pyramids. Pyramid is not a word that the ancient ones knew. It was Mer. And this also then becomes the word for supporter. So Tuahinu, to everyone who supports. I'll put the overlay on top for those who want to just scan the QR code. Here's the PayPal and Cash App. The links are all in the bio right below. So Tuahinu. And I will now pass it to the great brother, Anu. Hotep, great brother.
Hotep, mic check.
Sounds great.
Okay, thank you all very much. Are you ready?
Yo, let's go.
Okay. Hotep, Ma'at, Uncle Justineb, to offer this opportunity, to offer all that you do for the House of Aten, Ani, for making the website, for your tones, and all of your classes. I personally appreciate it all very much.
Hello, great brother.
You do.
Yeah, they're still saying your mic is low.
Okay, I'm gonna click a few buttons and see if that changes it.
Okay.
Okay, how about now?
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Is it too loud now, or?
Nah, you're great now. Yeah, there we go. Put it Negus. Is the mic sound good? Antu, let us know if the mic sounds good. There we go. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, two over.
Whatever button you pushed, it worked.
Push the button. Come on. Push the button.
12 very much. Okay. I'm ready to present.
Okay, let me make you big screen. Pull up your presentation.
Hotep, which is peace and offering in Medu Neter. Hotep, Selim Hamin. Selim Hamin is welcome, hello, good day, may you have good health. In the Imgir, the Sugagi language, or people today say Sumerian language. Hotep, Selim Hamin, welcome, hello, good day, may you have good health. Welcome to the House of Aten's second teaching on the Anunnaki Marduk and the meanings of his names. Brought back to the people by Anu. Welcome to part 2, brought to the House of Aten upon request from the great students of my original Marduk class. Here Antu says, make a part 2. Stephen E says, this presentation was great. Would like to see a part 2 from Oxafek. Minty Ma'at said, Hotep, this was an absolute breakthrough class. Hanu, good brother, keep up the great work. I would love a part 2, maybe a whole series. For those of you that are watching this one first, I previously made a part 1 on Marduk. This is the part 2. And before I even made any Marduk class, I did a reading on the Enuma Elish. So go check those out definitely. In the part 1, I went over the meaning of the name Marduk, which is actually pronounced Amar-Utu. And at the end of the presentation, I asked people if they would like to see a part 2 on the rest of Marduk's names, then I would make one. So today, I'm presenting the part 2. Today we will go over Amar-Utu, Marduk's second name, which is MARUKKA. So here is a quick question for the chat, who is MARUKKA? Have you ever heard of that name? Do you know anything about that name? Type what you know in the chat to offer all the support. I'm a little behind. The StreamYard is ahead, so when I say things to the people listening, it might seem like there's a little bit of a wait. Antu said, I have not heard of this name before you, but I now know it is one of Marduk's other names. And if you're at work, if you're listening, you can't type, say it in your head, because it still helps you interact with the class to remember the information. I'll give it a little bit more time. See if anybody else says anything. Who is MARUKKA? Niga said, not heard it before. That's great. You'll hear it here for the first time. It's going to be in depth. To offer the participation from Antu and Negus. I will be moving on. Anybody who is listening, say it in your head and follow along. So who is MARUKKA? Here, when you look up MARUKKA, this is what comes up. MARUKKA, this thing here, from some sort of game. It says MARUKKA is the goddess of secrets, the final boss in the game, as well as an unlockable character. She is an ancient demon from the modern hell Thrill Kill is in. MARUKKA is the demon who organized the tournament for reincarnation. So that is what you see when you look up MARUKKA, a female demon from a video game that personally I've never heard of until I did research on this specific name. And here I looked it up, and this is the first thing that came up from some fandom wiki account. MARUKKA, a character from a game, because that's what they do with our ancestors, especially the most powerful ones. They take inspiration from them and turn them into games and things that are not true, and also quote unquote demonize them. So here you can see Thrill Kill pops up. This is who they say MARUKKA is. Now, if this is who it is, the class would be over here. However, I will show you that they are far from who MARUKKA really is. No, MARUKKA is not the goddess of secrets, the final boss in the game, an ancient demon from the modern hell Thrill Kill. In a reality that is backed by historical factual sources, we can see that MARUKKA is actually the second Mu, which means name, given to who people today know as Marduk. The name was not originally attributed to a goddess nor a demon from a video game. Instead, it was and still is one of the many Mu names given to the king of the Anunnaki. So they took this name and they flipped its gender because of the transhumanism agenda. And they also flipped what it's supposed to represent. Marduk, depending on what side you are on, if you are a Sumerian, a Sagiga, and if you are a follower of Ma'at, Marduk is considered a good person. It is not a demon. And Marduk is also a male. They flipped it and made him a female. And they flipped it and made him a demon. Because to them, he probably is. If you're his enemy, you would most definitely call Marduk a demon. We can see the historical truth on MARUKKA and W.G. Lambert's transliteration of the Enuma Elish. This can also be found in the Enuma Elish, the Babylonian creation epic by Timothy J. Stephanie on the bottom of page 43. So I will show you in W.G. Lambert's transliteration of the Enuma Elish here. Here it says two, because this is his second name. It says MARUKKA. He is the God who created them, who put the Anunnaki at ease, the Igigi at rest. And in the original native language of the Sagiga, it is MARUKKA, Lu Ilu, Banu, Shunu, Shuma, Mutib, Libi, Anunnaki, Mushap, Shihu, Igigi. So this name, MARUKKA, right here, was given to describe the aspect of Marduk that is the God who created them. Them being what people today call humans. Back then they were called LULU, which meant worker. So this here describes this aspect of Marduk as he is the God who created them, who put the Anunnaki at ease, the Igigi at rest. They chose this name specifically to describe this sentence here. So the whole class will be centered around this name and how it relates to Marduk being the one who created man, who put the Anunnaki at ease, and the Igigi at rest. We will take a deep dive into why they specifically chose this name and the gears they did. First, I will get into a little bit on why Marduk would create man, Lulu, as we are today. I will get into that first. So here we can see from that MARUKKA is the form of Amar-Utu, Marduk, that created the Sagiga, the black-headed people, also known as Lulu, which is now man, humans. And he's the one who put the Anunnaki at ease and Igigi at rest. So here from W.G. Lambert's translation of the Enuma Elish, it says, when Marduk heard the God's speech, he conceived a desire to accomplish clever things. He opened his mouth addressing Ea. He counsels that which he had pondered in his heart. He says, I will bring together blood and form bone. I will bring into being Lulu, whose name shall be man. I will create Lulu, man, on whom the toil of the gods would be laid, that they may rest. I will skillfully alter the organization of the gods. So here is the part of the Enuma Elish where Marduk gives out the idea
Uh-oh, looks like our great brother dropped off. Oh, here he is. You're muted.
I have no idea what just happened. It just disappeared. It said I had no internet, but I do have internet.
All right, so you're back up and running. You're good?
Yeah, I'm back up and running.
All right, let's add you to the stage here.
Love very much.
You're
welcome. So here we can see Marduk having the idea to create man and telling his father, Ea, known as ENKI, that he wants to create man so that way the Anunnaki and Igigi can rest. because the Anunnaki, they did not like to bear workloads naturally, hard labor like digging and carrying stones, doing all sorts of hard labor. The Anunnaki naturally did not like to bear workloads, so they created the Igigi and had them bear the workloads. However, because the Igigi have genes from the Anunnaki, the Igigi, being descendants of the Anunnaki, carried on the trait of not wanting to work as well. So because the Anunnaki did not want to work and the Igigi did not want to work, what they ended up doing was creating another being, which Sabatuti has a great class on that. He shows how the genome has been spliced and how something, well, from these stories we know people, someone, and other Anunnaki played a part in actually splicing together DNA, creating a new being, which is the being we are now. That is a great class. I do not know the name exactly. However, it's a class that has to do with all Anunnaki stuff. So here we can see in the Atra Hassis, scribed by Ami Saduka, and then translated by Stephanie Mary Daly in Myths from Mesopotamia Creation, The Flood, Gilgamesh, and Others. Here I will show you that in their own stories from their own mouths, in the Atra Hassis, it shows that in the beginning of the colonization of this planet by the Anunnaki, they did not like to bear work. They did not like to do the heavy labor. So here on page 9 it says, when the gods instead of man did the work, bore the loads, the gods' load was too great, the work too hard, the trouble too much. The great Anunnaki made the Igigi carry the workload sevenfold. So here on page 9, it shows that the Anunnaki did not like to do work. It was too hard, too much. So they made the Igigi carry the workload even more than they were doing originally. And that gets into various different stories as well on how the Igigi actually dug out what we know today as the Euphrates and Tigris River. They actually dug it out and made it. That's a different class though. But that's the type of work they're doing. They're digging rivers. Here on page 14, ENKI says to the other Anunnaki, I'll give some context because I can't read the whole story here, but after a while, the Igigi started to rebel against the Anunnaki because they did not want to work, and they were working even more than the Anunnaki were. So they have a council, the Anunnaki have a council about the Igigi, and ENKI spoke to the gods, his brothers. He says, why are we blaming them? Their work was too hard. Their trouble was too much. Every day the earth resounded, as in the Igigi were protesting. They were making a lot of noise and uproar. The warning signal was loud enough. We kept hearing the noise. There is Belit Ili, the womb goddess, is present. Let her create primeval man, so that he may bear the yoke, the work of Enlil. Let man bear the load of the gods. So here, in this story, we can see Ea saying an idea to the rest of the Anunnaki. We now know that the idea originally came from the king, being Marduk. Ea says it to the other Anunnaki during a council meeting to use Belit Ili, the womb goddess, as a surrogate to create the first man, the technically first ancestor that was like us, going way, way, way back. So here shows that the Anunnaki did not want to work, the Igigi did not want to work, and because of protests from the Igigi, they were forced to create another being to do the work, which at the time was the species we are now.
The creation of Lulu Man was so important because it freed the Anunnaki and Igigi of this mental and physical burden of working. Due to Marduk being the mastermind behind the creation of Lulu Man, he was given the name MARUKKA. He is the god who created them, who put the Anunnaki at ease and the Igigi at rest. And in the time that they are making this, that they are making man, it is very important to them. This is a very big deal because they literally cannot work. They will just give up. It's too much for them. It's too hard. They make another being. Those beings just give up. It's too much for them. It's too hard. So by Marduk creating another being, he literally saves the other Anunnaki and Igigi from this burden within themselves. And he frees up their time, allowing them to do other tasks, to do other things. And when we also look at it from our point of view, us as humans, no matter what human it is on the planet, is alive because of this idea that Marduk had. That's very powerful. All the things we know as humans today is because we, at some point, being in this human form, were an idea within a supreme being's mind. So back then, it was definitely worth it to give him a name specifically for that idea he had. And even now, looking at how much humans have done, the good and the bad, just the evolution they have done in general, he most definitely deserves a special name for the idea that he had and accomplished, which is MARUKKA. But wait, why the specific name MARUKKA? Why not any other phonetic values? Why is it specifically MARUKKA? And what does MARUKKA even mean? Here at the House of Aten, you will find out what MARUKKA means, backed by the language of the Sag-Giga, black-headed people themselves. The Mu name MARUKKA is spelled in the Mgir cuneiform like this. This is what it actually looks like. You have the Dingir or Dingir, which means that the name preceding this is a Anunnaki. This is Ma here. This is Ru. This is Uk. And this is Ka. Ma, Ru, Uk, Ka. Right here. Each one of these Mgirs has meanings to it that apply to the task that Marduk created, which is why they chose this specific name to give him. In the Enuma Elish, if you read it, or if you go back to my reading of it, there is a whole section of it where they start naming off various different names and aspects of Marduk for the accomplishments that he had succeeded in. They gave him over 50 names. I will be going over MARUKKA. So the first sign in MARUKKA is a Dingir. It is not pronounced in this specific name, and it means that the name after is a divine being, an Anunnaki in this case. In other sentences, it can be pronounced. However, when it's speaking about a person, it is not pronounced. The second sign here is pronounced ma. And the sumerograms are ma and pesh or gesh. The way it's pronounced, though, the phonetic value is ma. So we are in the ma of MARUKKA. Here, ma means to bind. It means house. It means to go. And it means land and country. So I could just say that and then keep it moving, essentially. However, I know because of our Sabatuti that there's words that we all say that we don't truly know what they mean. We just say things, assuming what they mean. So in order for me to actually connect what these definitions of Ma are to his aspect of creating man and releasing the Anunnaki and Igigi of their burden, I have to go into the etymology of these words to see what they truly mean. What does to bind, house, to go, land, country really mean? And what does it have to do with Marduk's creation of man, thus relieving the Anunnaki? To further understand, we must dig deeper into the etymology of these words. There will be a lot of etymology today in this class. So here we have bind, to tie up with bonds, to make captive, to cover with dressings and bandages, to bind, stick together, cohere. How does the definitions we see of Ma and the name MARUKKA relate to Marduk's aspect of the creator of man and the one who put the Anunnaki and Igigi at ease and rest? Well, to bind represents Marduk's accomplishment of having the idea to create vessels, bodies, in Medu Neter known as the Kat, the physical Ka. He had the idea of creating these vessels, these what people now today call bodies, that have the ability to hold consciousness. So I'm not a scientist, and I'm pretty sure even if I was a scientist in today's matrix, I would have no idea whatsoever on how to create another human being through pure science. I know that there are certain companies today that do work with cloning and various different things like that. However, not every average scientist knows how to create a being in a quote-unquote supernatural way, because it's not the natural way that a man and a woman would create a being. Instead, this is a scientific way. It's by injecting various different things into a female, and that's all I can say because I don't know the rest of the steps. So to be able to create a functional being that is able to retain consciousness is a whole nother thing. Because theoretically, you could just make like a blob and it's not conscious enough to do work or speak or learn languages and stuff like that. So he has to be able to have an idea to create a being that can trap consciousness within it. What we learned from our Sabatuti and within Ma'at and the Nile Valley is that when the Ka starts to form the Kat, the Ka becomes enmeshed. The spirit, for those that don't know what Ka means, becomes enmeshed within the body. It becomes the energetic body. And the Ka, the aspect of us that is the Ka, the spirit, actually thinks that we are dead, because this is so different from what we are used to and what most of life actually is. So it's like being held captive within your own body. This is why people have to practice out-of-body experiences, and it doesn't come natural because you actually are trapped within your body unless you can open up certain doorways, which are known as chakras or medunet or mehis, to actually unwind yourself and leave your body and no longer be a captive. So he has to figure out how to make a body that can actually hold the consciousness and do this work. The ability to have an idea that requires the tying, dressing, and bandaging up of various substances to create Lulu man, which is the etymology of bind, covered with dressing and bandages. They have to figure out how to take sinew and tie it around bone, and for bone to even form, and all these various different little things that start off as particles to connect and form a net or a fabric, which would be the body, and layers and layers and layers and layers on top of that to eventually create the body we see today. They have to figure out how to do that all in a scientific way. The body of Lulu man itself was created from a captive of war, because bind also means to make captive. So the Ka is captive inside the body in order to get the being to be technically alive here. And Lulu man itself was created from a captive of war who was captured by Marduk himself. So there's so many different parts of his story that have to do with this word bind that lead him to this point of making man. The way man was made was through a captive of war. That captive of war was the leadership of the army of Tiamat, the direction of the host, the bearing of weapons, campaigning, the mobilization of conflict, the chief executive power of battle, supreme command, Kingu. Kingu was captured by Marduk in the Enuma Elish story. And I will show the source later because this will come up again. Kingu was used, his blood was used from his dead body to create the human race that we know today. Therefore, a captive of war was taken captive, and then his essence was put into man. So therefore, he's actually also captive within man. It's not just one thing that applies to the story. It's not just, oh, the Ka is captive inside the body. The story has so many various different things that have to do with bind leading up to the point of him creating man. As a result of Marduk's, his accomplishment, he was able to bind and tie together a new fate for Lulu man, the Anunnaki, Igigi, and the world. So by him creating man, he changed the history of the world. He literally bound a new fate to this planet. If he never created man, we wouldn't be here, and the state of the planet would be way different, good and bad. So by him creating man, he's literally tying together, like here, tie up with bonds, and binding a new reality to multiple Kas, multiple Bas, multiple spirits and souls, and to the planet itself, and even the universe. That is deep. That shows that one idea can change all of reality. He did not just change reality for the planet and various other things on the planet. He also changed reality for the Anunnaki and Igigi, because he was able to bind Lulu man to various workloads. So that's another reason why it's bind, is because he didn't just make them and go, okay, do whatever you want. He gave them a job. He bound them to something. And he also bound the Anunnaki and Igigi to something as well. He's reorganizing everything by connecting various different things together in a multitude of ways. he was able to bind Lulu man to various workloads and bind the Anunnaki and Igigi to rest and ease. All within the first definition of Ma in MARUKKA. Now we will go to House, and how House has to do with him being the creator of man and the one who put the Anunnaki and Igigi at ease and rest. So here, House means dwelling, shelter, building, designed to be used as a residence. Here it says perhaps the original root is connected to the root word hide, a root word of hide. In Gothic and Gudus, it means temple. House means temple, and it literally means God house. So here it says it can be connected to the root of hide. So I went to hide. Hide means to hide, conceal, preserve, hide oneself, bury a corpse. And it means to cover, to conceal. So House in Ma represents Marduk's accomplishment of having the idea to create Babili, also known today as Babylon. I do not know what people think how these cities were created or whatever they tell themselves. However, if you read the Enuma Elish, it says in the Enuma Elish that Marduk created Babylon. Specifically, the Anunnaki were the ones that worked to do it, putting that city together. At its creation, at Babylon's creation or Babili's creation, it became a dwelling, shelter, building designated as a residence, temple, and a god house for the Anunnaki and Igigi due to their shrines. So here it says all the Anunnaki constructed their own shrines. Now, those who are students of Sabatuti, such as myself, and those who have listened to certain classes and also a certain Medu class, will know that a shrine is something that holds the consciousness of whoever is dedicated to. So if you have a statue of Ra within a designated place, the consciousness of Ra exists within that statue. And you can communicate actually to Ra by doing various different things. So in this case, all the Anunnaki constructed their own shrines in Babili. Therefore, the shrine becomes the dwelling and shelter for that conscious light. It becomes a building designated as a residence for that conscious light. It becomes a temple because it's a sacred place that is meant to give offerings and sustenance to various different beings within that vicinity, within that temple. And it also is a god house because the gods literally live within the temple because they are within their shrines. Therefore, Babili becomes a house to all Anunnaki and Igigi. Within these shrines, the Ku-like consciousness of these Anunnaki hide and conceal, preserve and hide oneself under the cover of these shrines. So when you go to a statue under the atom in the subatomic realm exists the conscious light of the being, similar to how bodies work. Under the subatomic, in the subatomic realm, under the atoms, which is what people call physical today, like this, under this exists light consciousness, and same goes for these statues as well. So you can use yourself as an example, or if you can understand that within a statue exists a spirit, theoretically, as a human and as these statues, you're hiding within your body. This knowledge has to be learned, especially today in this society, because upon coming to this planet, many people forget what actual reality is, and that there's actually another realm that we come from before this, being the subatomic realm, also known as the real time zone, or people today call the astral plane. So theoretically, within these statues, within the body, these spirits, these light consciousness are hiding and concealing themselves inside of the statue. So you go tell an average archaeologist and you're like, hey, you know that Ra statue you have in your hand, Ra's in there. And you're like, what? They think you're crazy. But that's actually not the case. And it's been proven scientifically and most importantly by our ancestors. Within these statues, offerings are given to the light consciousness in the statue. Thus comes in the preservation. The conscious light exists within the statue because it recognizes it and it's there to be preserved, to do and come back to what it knew on this planet. So if a certain being liked bread, if you put bread at that statue, the chances of the being coming, because it's familiar with bread, are high. And the being will eat the KIRLIAN light, the photonic light from the bread, and will preserve itself, thus making these shrines of the Anunnaki their dwellings. They live there, like in your house. You live inside of your house. You are hidden from the rest of the world. You choose if you want to open up the windows or not for people to see you. You exist in there. People say the house, it's inanimate. It doesn't have a spirit. That's what people say today. And that is how the body is too if the ka does not exist. When someone passes, what's passing is their energetic double. And the body is now empty. Just like if someone comes to a house, if you go to a house, well, there's people living in that house. But if they leave, you don't say the house is alive anymore. So therefore, the same goes for these statues and for these shrines. The shrines are houses. There's things that live within them that need to be preserved. This all relates to Marduk's aspect of Ma and how it means house. It's very in-depth. Yet a shrine must be maintained. The maintainers became the future residents of Babylon, who are the Sagiga, Lulu man. So Marduk, being the one that created the Anunnaki, Marduk being the one who created Lulu man, and also being the one to put the Anunnaki and Igigi at ease, he did not just make a house for the Anunnaki and Igigi, he also made a house for the Sagiga, which are the people that archaeologists knew that live there today. They knew that humans, as people say today, lived there, and those humans were the Sagiga, and Babylon was made to eventually house them. So here we can see from World History Encyclopedia that there was no concept of separation of religion and politics. Festivals also served a political purpose in uniting a king's subjects and honoring his god, and in the case of Akitu festival, legitimizing the king's rule through a public demonstration of the patron god's approval of his reign. Festivals were celebrated throughout the year for several reasons, including New Year, God's birthdays and incidents from their lives, ceremonial mourning, such as rites of the god Tammuz, memorable events such as a military victory, sowing and reaping, harvest festivals, a monarch's coronation, birth of royal children, completion and dedication of a palace, temple, or city. All of these were explicitly or implicitly associated with the patron god of the city or with the Mesopotamian pantheon, generally as the gods were understood as the true monarchs, and the kings were simply their steward. In order to maintain his authority, the king needed to court the goodwill of the gods, and although they may need approval, clear through military victories, bountiful harvest, and prosperous trade. Events such as the Akitu festival provided an annual opportunity for the divine to continue its relationship with the ruling house or withdraw its favor. So here is proof from what people would call a reputable source that in Babylon and throughout all of what they call Mesopotamia, that they dedicated themselves to serving these shrines and these beings that at certain points in history you could not see with these physical eyes. And that specifically for this one, this whole text from the World History Encyclopedia was talking about Babylon. So it shows proof, which I think many people know, that people lived within Babylon. Even in the Bible, they try to say people lived there and all this other crazy stuff. It's well known that people lived within Babylon. And if these people were created by Marduk, these men were created by Marduk, then Babylon became the house for not just the Anunnaki Nigigi, but also man. Pardon me, excuse me, I will be right back.
Oh, brother, I knew. I don't hear you.
Pardon me. I said it's hot in this room. I don't know how Sabatudi does it with like 100 degrees. Okay, I will continue. Here we can read that Lulu man live within Babili and have consistent rituals to the Anunnaki, thus sustaining them. The building of Babili created a house for both Anunnaki and Lulu man, due to the shrines and the maintaining of them by Lulu man. This put the Anunnaki and Igigi. This put the Anunnaki at ease and Igigi at rest, allowing them to do other things while they're sustained with sustenance through their shrines. Lulu man was created through hiding, concealing, and preserving Kingu's essence under the cover of man. In turn, also making man Kingu's dwelling and shelter. So there's three things that house has to do with Ma, and specifically Marduk creating man. Man also became Kingu's house. His essence lives within the DNA of every human. He was the one who was rebellious. And Sabatudi partially goes over in one of his classes the rebellious nature of humans and how there's a fight going on inside of people's minds. This is why Ma is so beautiful, because it helps bring truth and ultimate power to that fight within us. Because Kingu was rebellious and he was mixed with his enemies to create what we are today, in turn making us Kingu's new house. So next, we will go to the word to and go, because ma as well means to and go. So to means in the direction of, as far as, a place, state, goal. It means for the purpose of, furthermore. It also means to, toward, upward, as long as far as, to, and toward. Go means to advance, walk, depart, go, away, happen, take place, conquer, observe, practice, exercise. It means to release, let go, be released, goes away. To go represents Marduk's accomplishment of going in the direction of and as far as he needed to go in order to accomplish his goal of creating Lulu Man. So in order for him to create Lulu Man, if you read the story, which is very important for this class to understand it, if you read the story, Marduk did a lot before he created man. He had to do a lot of things. He had to go in a certain direction to do a lot of things, not just metaphorically, but he actually literally had to go in a certain direction to first fight Tiamat. If he lost that battle, none of us would be here. He had to literally go in a certain direction to fight Tiamat in order for us to be created and for the Anunnaki and Igigi to rest. This action of creation allowed the Anunnaki and Igigi to ascend upwards and toward other goals. So not just did he walk in a certain direction as far as he needed to go to accomplish certain things, not just did he ascend upward in his accomplishments also caused others to ascend upwards. And I could use many examples for this. This happens, I can see it happen in the House of Aten. Other people ascend upward, and by them having great things that they accomplish, it causes other people to have great things they accomplish. There's a cause and effect. Here with Marduk, by him creating man, he also helped create a new reality for other beings as well. All of this was only accomplished because Marduk was able to observe, advance, and conquer Tiamat and her army, thus capturing Kingu and using him to create man. And in order for him to create man with Kingu, they have to release him from his body, which I think we all know what that means. They had to, what's the word people use in the video games? I don't know. They had to do things like that with various different things to him. I don't know if I can say that word. It rhymes with rilling. So they had to release Kingu from his body so that way they could use part of his body, his DNA, to make man. And they did not just release him, but they also released the Anunnaki and Igigi of their burden and of their workload. So as we can see so far, the theme is the definitions of the word Ma does not apply just to one thing. It applies to multiple things throughout the whole story of Marduk, leading him up to creating man. So here again, I put he counsels that which he had pondered in his heart, Marduk. He says, I will bring together blood and form bone. I will bring into being Lulu, whose name shall be man. I will create Lulu, man, on whom the toil of the gods will be laid that they may rest. I will skillfully alter the organization of the gods. Though they are honored as one, they shall be divided into two. So now we are at the last definition of the first Imgir in MARUKKA. It is country and land. So country means one's native land, sometimes with implications of political organization. It means region, district, country, land lying opposite, or land spread before one. Country, region, from Latin contra, opposite, against. The native word is land. Land means ground, soil, also definite portion of the earth's surface, home, region of a person or a people, territory marked by political boundaries. Land, open land, heath. Land, country, represents Marduk's accomplishment of having the idea to create Lulu man. And because he has this idea to create man, he establishes the first native land in history for the Sagiga. And not just the Sagiga, but humans as well. After the creation of Lulu, man, land was spread before them. So think about it. They create a new race of beings and they just step out in the plains and it's like, it's just fields and animals, maybe some buildings built by the Anunnaki. You travel a certain length, you got stuff built by the Neter, and you just have open land, forest and fields and prairies and desert. So he didn't just make them so that way they can just go out there and start wandering around. He made them to form a society of their own to do work. So therefore, they had to create a nation, and the land they were created in became their native land. Land was spread before them, their own ground, soil, and heath. Due to Marduk having the idea to create man, the first land, country, and Earth's history was established. That is deep. That's something to carry with you. In the Bible, you learn about Adam and Eve and all that stuff. And none of it's true. It can't be backed by archaeological facts. However, it can be backed by archaeological facts that the Sugagi were part of the first civilization in Earth's history. And recently, there was even a video posted, a short video on Instagram and all that stuff, of our wonderful Sabatuti saying that the Anunnaki were the first ones to come here and start civilization with colonies, and the followers of Ma were the first ones to start a civilization with a spiritual way of life. So one of the reasons why I love the Anunnaki is because we wouldn't be here without them. Ramses has proven, Ramesu, as the follower of Ma'at, that adoration, veneration, and appreciation can be given to the Anunnaki while still being a follower of Ma'at. And I relate to that because we would not be here without them. They created civilization. And this is just a little jewel here. I can make a whole class on this as well. The first city ever on the planet was called Eridu. And archaeologists have actually found various different landmarks from that city. And according to the stories, it dates back over 500,000 years. So there is a lot of proof that the Anunnaki came here from somewhere. And they established colonies here. And those colonies, as time went on, became the native land of what people today now call humans. This is probably why the Greeks are mad too, and other people, but that's a whole nother thing. They don't got a backstory like this, even though they still somehow, from somewhere, come from the Anunnaki. That's a different story, though. Another Sumerogram for this Mgir here. Ma is also Pesh and Gesh. So when you're looking at the transliterations, depending on the context it's used in, they might say it's pesh or gesh, but it's still pronounced ma. The phonetic value is still ma. And when it is used as pesh or gesh, it means a fig. So here, fig means fig. It means fig tree, fig. Fig. A fig is a fruit. Personally, I've never had a fig. But those out there who have or have heard of it, they you will know what it is. It is a fruit that originates towards in the Middle East region, as they call it now today. What does a fig have to do with Marduk creating Lulu Man and putting the Anunnaki and Igigi at rest? Well, figs were a staple food that was grown and ate within what they call the Fertile Crescent. The black-headed people in the past grew figs to use as nutritional food to eat and sustain themselves. For them to be able to grow crops would mean they learned the practice of agriculture. Agriculture is important for many reasons. One of those reasons is to be able to conserve energy to grow food instead of hunting and gathering it. So agriculture is very important to learn how to grow a thing like a fig, because you're not spending all your day chasing after an animal, hoping that you get it, and wasting a whole bunch of energy for no guarantee that you'll get it back. If you learn how to plant a seed and cultivate the ground, there's a higher chance that you will get your reward when the time comes without doing as much work as well. So here we can see other agricultural products include sesame, derived from the Akkadian word shamash shamu, which was widely cultivated and used to make oil. Oil was produced in the mountains. Flax was used to make linen cloth. Peas were cultivated in Mesopotamia, while lentils were preferred in Palestine. Figs, pomegranate, apple, and pistachio groves were found throughout the Fertile Crescent. So here is proof that they grew figs. This is why it's in their language. In villages and cities in southern Mesopotamia, groves of date palms were common, often with vegetables such as onions, garlic, and cucumbers growing in the shade of the palm trees. The dates were eaten either fresh or dried, providing vital sugars and vitamins. Palm wood was also used in crafts, but not in construction. Marduk's idea to create man is so important to the life of the Anunnaki and Igigi that man is equated to a fig. Because the word ma has to do with fig, and ma is the first part in the name that he has to create man. And man is the first thing he's doing to also get this name. So just like in the what they call the Fertile Crescent in Sumeria, for simpler terms, in Sumeria, they ate the fig. The fig sustained them, among other things as well. And this fig brought them life and relaxation. Just like how Lulu Man brought the Anunnaki and Igigi life and relaxation. The man is equated to a fig by using the same imgir that is used for a fig. One of the widely cultivated foods that binds to sustenance, resting of a civilization, and creating a land and a country. All the definitions tie into each other. But wait, it gets deeper. What does the cycle of a fig have to do with aspects of Marduk? This aspect of Marduk. So what does a cycle of a fig have to do with this ma? Here, the first Imgir in Marduk creating man and putting the Anunnaki and Igigi at rest. So here we can see a fig, the cycle of a fig. I don't know how many of you knew this, but a pollen-laden female wasp enters an unripe fig. The wasp pollinates the flowers and lays her eggs. So a wasp enters the fig that's ready to receive pollen. The wasp pollinates the flower and lays her eggs in it. So the eggs are laid within the fig. Flowers with wasp larvae form galls, and some other flowers produce seeds. Male wasps leave the galls first and fertilize the females. The males will die before leaving the fig. So the male wasp literally dies inside of the fig. It never leaves the fig. Females then leave their galls and collect pollen from mature male flowers within the fig. And then the cycle goes where the female exits the fig through a tunnel and search for another fruit where they will lay a new generation of eggs. So the cycle continues. It says in some cases, though, females exit the fig without first collecting pollen. Females without pollen will still enter an unripe fig where they will lay their eggs, but without being pollinated, the fig will not grow seeds and may be aborted by the tree. Any offspring in the drop fig will die. So here we can see wasps are crucial in the pollination of figs and the growing of figs. And the part I want to focus on is how the male wasp is part of this process of the fig being pollinated by helping the female have eggs so the female can go lay eggs, and the male actually dies within the fig, which also is a source of fertilization. Figs without wasp. While wasp bodies may add some crunch to a tasty fig, you probably won't find a wasp inside a fig you are about to eat, even if you look really hard. Some types of fig that are grown for human consumption have figs that ripen without pollination, which are genetically modified, not how it was back in the day of the ancestors of Sagiga. It is also possible to trick plants into ripening figs without wasps by spraying them with plant hormones. Even when figs are grown the old-fashioned way, the wasp is long gone by the time the fig crosses your lips. Figs produce a chemical called ficin that breaks down the wasp bodies. Ficin is so effective at breaking down or digesting animal proteins that natives of Central America eat fig sap to treat intestinal worm infections. So the male wasp that is inside of the fig actually gets broken down by this chemical and is digested and ate by the fig. So you might be wondering what does this have to do with Marduk, his aspect MARUKKA? You might be asking, what does this have to do with him creating man and putting the Anunnaki to Gigi at rest? Well, here a fig needs a wasp to enter it in order to be pollinated. In this cycle, the male wasp dies and never leaves the fig. It gets broken down by ficin and thus binding itself and becoming a part of the fig. The fig as well becomes the home to the wasp. Similarly to how the male Igigi Kingu had his blood vessel severed to be put into man, he went into making man, never to come out, thus becoming a part of man, Lulu man, and becoming its new home. just like the wasp inside the fig. Just like how the human is equated to the fig because of the sustenance, because of the act of creation that Marduk chose to do, so is Kingu being part of the pollination of man. He goes into it to not come out. And here it says in the Enuma Elish, your former oath was true indeed. This is Marduk talking. He says, your former oath was true indeed. Now also tell me the solemn truth. Who is the one who instigated warfare? Who made Tiamat rebel and set battle in motion? Let him who instigated warfare be given up, that I may lay his punishment on him. But you sit and rest. The Igigi, the great gods, answered him. That is Lugal dem Meranakia, the counselor of the gods, their lord. The Igigi say to Marduk, they say, Kingu is the one who instigated warfare, who made Tiamat rebel and set battle in motion. They bound him. They bound Kingu, holding him before Ea. They inflicted the penalty on him and severed his blood vessels. From his blood, he, Ea, created mankind. Like how the male wasp dies inside the fig. It never comes out. Just like Kingu going into man and never coming out. So next, we will look at the second gear in MARUKKA. We just went over Ma right now. It's pretty lengthy. Went over Ma and what it has to do with Marduk, this aspect of him creating man and putting the Anunnaki and Igigi at ease and rest. Now we will look at Ru, which is here. Ru. The Sumerograms are Ru and Shub. The phonetic values are Ru, Shub, Shup. So it can be pronounced Ru, it can be pronounced Shub, or Shup. Ru means to remove. So we have to think, what does to remove have to do with Marduk creating man and putting the Anunnaki and Igigi at rest? Because the other Anunnaki and Igigi gave him this name for a reason. Every single gear in the name has a reason that applies to this specific accomplishment. They didn't just throw out a name like how people do at the hospital. Your name's Jeff. Your name's Tom. I'm gonna name you Darquish. They didn't do that back then. Everything had a reason. So what does to remove, to reposition, have to do with this aspect of Amarutu, Marduk? Ru means remove. What does remove really mean? Remove. Take something away. Dismiss from an office, post, or situation. Move, stir, leave, depart, take away. Move back or away, take away, put out of view, subtract. Ray, back, away, ray, to move, to push away. Remove represents Marduk's accomplishment of creating man and dismissing / taking away the burden of the Anunnaki and Igigi, thus subtracting them from their post and situation. The creation of man was only possible because Marduk was the one to move, leave, depart, and push away the army of Tiamat. The outcome of this was keeping the Anunnaki alive and creating man. Even if we look at Kingu again, I don't know whether to feel bad for him or not, but he was the one that was subtracted for sure, and then repositioned into man. Think about that. This story of creation, when there's a battle within yourself, and be the part of yourself that is within Ma'at. And understand the battle is only natural because of how the bodies we are in were created. The other Samaragram is Shub. It means fall. Here, fall. Now, what does fall really mean? Like I said in the beginning of the class, there's going to be a lot of etymology because we really don't know what words mean until we look up the original meaning of them and not what they turned into. So here, fall means to drop from a height, fail, decay, die. It means to fall, from pull, to fall. In Old Prussian, it was finds, literally falls upon. Fall represents Marduk's accomplishment of being able to create a body that is capable of capturing a Ka spirit that has dropped down from a height, which is the subatomic realm. From the perspective of the Ka upon incarnation, it thinks that it has died. As soon as the body is made, a Ka is enmeshed within the body slowly. The Ka enmeshed within the body slowly starts to decay, and eventually the Ka will fail. So that was a typo, excuse me. When the Ka goes into the body, it forms the body, and as soon as something is born in this world, it starts to die. It starts to get old. And it starts to fail as time goes on. So take a real old person, make them a baby again. As soon as they became a baby, their body started to develop, with the end being failure, the old person they are at this moment. The heart could fail, the brain could fail, the lungs could fail. And now today, in this time and age, people think that is bad, but everyone is going to pass. And the reality is, to a Ka that understands what is really happening, to a spirit that understands that is really what is really happening, it is actually a time of release, because you are going back to the place you're originally from, and you're going back to the place that you know the best. This place is actually the foreign place, and it is actually the dead place, because all of this conscious light is trapped within various other things like a prison. But it doesn't have to be a prison, especially if you follow Ma'at. Our ancestors teach how to live in unison with all things around us, including our body that is a part of us. So fall represents the Ka, the spirit, being attracted to something else and pulled from something else, being the subatomic realm, and dropping down, not literally like down, but from a dimension into another frequency that is different from where it is originally from. So this is why they put, one of the reasons why they put Ru in his name, because they wanted to describe his ability to remove, and the word fall, those aspects of him and what it caused. And I have to go into it deep, because if you just look at what the Assyriologists say or archaeologists say, they just go, Shub, fall, on to the next word. And you can't really do that. You have to look at how they were living, what the knowledge was back then, how they were thinking. You have to think like that to your best ability to understand why these things mean what they mean, and why they were applied in this specific class to Marduk's name, MARUKKA. So now we will move on to the third gear. Here you have Uk, right here. We went over Ma, we went over Ru, Now we're at Uk. It is this right here. And I'll drop a little jewel so there's better understanding on why these look the way they do, the Imgir. The Imgir actually used to be pictographs. It actually used to be pictures that were telling a story. And that can be a whole different class. However, as time went on, the angles of these pictures started to change and they started to form what you see here. So the sumerograms for this sign, this Imgir, are Pirig, Ug. The phonetic values are Ug, Uk, and Uk. Hence, Uk and MARUKKA. We're going over Uk. So here we can see that Uk means lion when used in a poem. It also means light, to shine, with the ning, thing. Here we can see it means bright. Pirig, which is the name of the sumerogram, also named Ug, means lion, poetic, light, lion in a poetic manner, light and bright. What do these words really mean though? Because go ask somebody random on the street, ask them, what does lion mean? Ask them, what does light mean? And chances are they'll just tell you what they think they know. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. To verify that, we should go to etymology.com. It kind of rhymed. Anyways. Lion. French, lion, lion. Also figuratively, hero. From Latin, leonim. Lion, the constellation Leo. From Greek, leon. A word from a non-Indo-European language, perhaps Semitic. Compare Hebrew, labich, lion. So we can see here the word lion comes from the star constellation Leo. However, thanks to our Sabatudi, I was able to bypass this technically incomplete etymology here. Our Sabatudi and Ani have taught about where the word Leo actually comes from. So in order to gain the actual etymology of lion, which goes back to Leo, we have to get into where Leo actually comes from. And here we can see that the etymology of lion come from Leo. However, we have learned from the Sabatudi that Leo comes from a mispronunciation of the rolling R in Ray. The actual etymology of lion is Ray. The Greeks, when they came to the Nile Valley, they were unable to go rrr. So they started to roll their R as best they could. Like, and they couldn't roll it, so it started to make an L noise. So then it became lay. And as time went on, that evolved into Leo. And the Sabatudi has class on that. I know Ani has mentioned it in a few classes about the mispronunciation of Ray and it eventually evolving into Leo because they were unable to roll their R's. So now that we know that lion, that etymology is actually Ray, what does this have to do with this aspect of Marduk? Well, here we can see Ra, which the vowel is interchangeable because there's actually no vowels originally. Ra or Ray means the sun, the day, day and night, every day and daily. And then here, Ma'ai, Mia, or Ma'u means lion, which is also a state of consciousness that Ra is known to have, the Ma'u, which they say now that's the noise a cat makes. One of the meanings of Ra is sun and day, the sun being the brightest light creating the day. As we have been taught by Sabatuti, lions and big cats are associated with the relaxed, strong, conscious state, Ma'u or Mia. A lion and other big cats are associated with this frequency because they're able to jump high out in the savannah and out in the environments they live. They're able to jump high, representing quickly ascending to higher conscious states, and they're able to see in the darkness as well, which is a whole nother thing, because in the darkness you cannot see unless you are extremely adjusted to it. So just like how it's hard to see in the dark, it's hard as well to see within the subatomic realm, where people call the astral realm, unless you have a certain type of sight and vision to see within that realm, just like how cats can see within the dark. So all associations having to do with bright light consciousness. Just like if we go back here, lion, why is lion the same word as light, shine, and bright? Well, because a lion represents a certain type of consciousness. So here, let's go into bright. Bright, radiating or reflecting light. Bright, splendid, clear sounding, beautiful, divine. Bright. To shine, white. Light, etymology of light is brightness, radiant energy, that which makes things visible. Light, daylight, spiritual illumination. Light, brightness. But what does all of this have to do with the Uk and Marduk's name, MARUKKA? What does lion and bright and light have to do with his name and him creating man? Well, all of this represents Marduk's supreme consciousness, his radiating, reflecting light energy that is clear sounding, beautiful, and divine. It is what shines light like the day, thus showing his bright spiritual illumination. He is so bright, he is compared to the animal that represents a high state of consciousness, the lion. Only because of this supreme consciousness, he was able to create Lulu Man and put the Anunnaki at ease and Igigi at rest. And if we put this in perspective, we know here at the House of ATTON, the Neteru exist. The Anunnaki exist. This will only be able to be understood if you think they actually exist, which Ani just had a fantastic class on how they exist, showing the Turin's King's List. If we put it in perspective back then, we know from stories like Heru Buhutet that Inanna and Heru fought together against the enemy, whoever that was at the time. We know that Ramesu named his Sots, his daughters, after Anunnaki. If we look at the time back then, the Anunnaki and the Neter are living in a unison, but in different places. They know of each other. They are so close, they're even fighting as allies with each other. So, if they're fighting as allies with each other, you only can be allies with someone if you have a unison in consciousness, if you are on the same page, if you're on the same frequency, with the same goals. The Anunnaki knew about Medu Neter before we did. They lived back then with the Neter. They lived in the same areas. Therefore, it makes complete sense that the lion would also be equated to light consciousness inside of Sumeria, just like how it was equated to light consciousness in the Nile Valley. And here's a jewel that I might bring to a class one day. If you look inside of what they call Sumeria today, there are even Imgirs that are Ankhs and Djeds. There are actually writings that are literally exactly the same as the Nile Valley. Even though they're two different cultures, they were extremely linked together. However, still separate cultures. If you are learning here at the House of Aten, please support in the name of the ancestors, the Neter, in the name of the ancestors, the Anunnaki. Please support. This is not we're not here to tell you that Marduk is Amun-Ra and that Tehuti is Ea. We're not here to do that because they're all individually so great, beyond comprehension great. The other Sumerogram for Uk is Uk. It means plant. It means furious, to be furious. It means light, which we have gone over. And it means lion, which we have gone over as well. It also says here lion, a mythical lion, or a large cat. So this does not just mean lion, it also means large cat. We have already gone over how Marduk relates to lion, large cat, and light. How does he relate to plant and to be furious? So here, plant. Plant means young tree or shrub, herb newly planted, a shoot or stripe recently sprouted, from seed, sprout, shoot, cutting, to drive in with the feet, push into the ground with the feet, perhaps to level the earth, from planta, sole of the foot, from Proto-Indo-European root plot, to spread. Plant represents Marduk's ability to sprout up, to spread his consciousness. In order to create man, you need to have a very strong, bright, powerful consciousness. And in order to rule beings that spiritually and in this world are beyond technologically advanced, you have to have such a bright, strong consciousness. At this time, in Marduk's life, at this time when he received the name MARUKKA, he was a part of the younger generation of Anunnaki. So if you read the Enuma Elish, in the beginning it states how he is part of the younger generation. He is not as old as the other Anunnaki around him. So at this part of his life, he is a part of the younger generation of Anunnaki. Yet, he was the foundation of the Anunnaki. So he is the youngest, but he is the foundation. Like how the sole of your foot is the foundation, is very important in the foundation of the body. Like to drive in with the feet. In order to use your feet to drive in with your feet into the ground, or from planta, sole of the foot, you have to have the heel, as people say now today, the back of the foot. So he is equated with the sole of the foot because he is very important to the foundation of the Anunnaki and Igigi. Going back to the story again, if he did not destroy Tiamat's army would have destroyed all of them. He is also important to history and reality as we know it now, because he is the foundation of how we were created. He holds us up. If you took away Marduk from history, everything would disappear. The society now, as we know, like, let's pretend a time traveler went back and erased history, reality will start to crumble. Just like how if you don't have the sole of your feet, you can't stand up. You'll start falling. The sole of the foot is important because it supports the weight of the body, allows for complex movements, and absorbs impact forces. Just like how Marduk created the most complex of movements, which is creating a being and reorganizing the way that the Anunnaki and Igigi worked. He is also the one who absorbed solely the impact forces of Tiamat's army. Him. He was at the front. Due to his consciousness, one of the complex movements he was able to make was creating Lulu Man, thus supporting the Anunnaki and Igigi as a body and allowing Lulu Man to absorb the impact of the workload as well. So not just was he the soul himself, not just was he the new young person coming up, growing, shooting up, sprouting up, he also created a being as well that could echo that from him. A being that happened to be young because it was recently created at that time. Something that eventually would keep sprouting up and up and up, just like a plant. And also too became another soul. Like you gotta have two legs and 2 feet in order to walk. So each foot has to have a soul. So he was one as well, and the creation he made was one. Because without him, there would be nothing. And without Lulu Man, the Anunnaki and Igigi would not be able to function. They would not be able to absorb the impact of the workload. If you do research on the soul of a foot, you'll find things I said in here and more. I definitely didn't have enough time to go into all that. But yes, plant means sole of the foot. One of the meanings means to spread. These are all things that Marduk did in his aspect of MARUKKA. So now let's get into the word furious, impetus, and livid. Furious, which means impetus. Unrestrained, furious, enraged, livid, full of rage, mad, rage, passion, fury. An enraged person. So I personally, while looking at the etymology of the word furious, I did not know what the etymology of the word impetus meant. So I looked it up. Nor did I know what the word livid really meant either. I've just heard people say these things and I don't even know if they know what they're saying. So I had to look it up in order to bring it to you all. I couldn't just say these words and not know what they meant. So impetus means hot-tempered, fierce, done or given with a rush of force. Impetus, violent, from Latin, impetus, attack. Livid means of a bluish leaden color, and directly from Latin, lividus, of a bluish color, black and blue. Figuratively, envious, spiteful, malicious. Livir, be bluish. Earlier source, slivir, from Proto-Indo-European, sliwo, from sle, which the base etymology of this word livid means bluish. Might be thinking, what does this have to do with Marduk? Well, let's get into it. To be furious represents Marduk's unrestraint to the actions he seeks to accomplish. So nothing can stop him at all. He is furious. He goes at things in a rush of force with rage and passion. to accomplish his deeds. He can still be relaxed. I'd have to find something for that, but you can still be relaxed and be angry. And that anger will fuel your motivation to accomplish certain things. And when he comes into the story, his family members are being threatened to be killed, and him too, by Tiamat. So of course he's angry. Of course he is coming at things with passion, because his life is on the line, and the people he cares about, life is on the line. To be furious represents Marduk's unrestraint in the actions he seeks to accomplish. His hot-tempered, fierce ability to get things done with a rush of force and rage, with rage and bluish passion. The bluish passion goes back to what Kirlian light actually is. It shows the emotion and frequency of the enmeshed body, the energetic body, which is the Ka, the spirit. He is trying to connect with all of his goals. In order to connect with goals and with anything, you have to have a Kirlian light that is blue when a picture of it is taken. Sabatuti has shown this blue light many times. He has shown two fingers touching, and when they are connecting, thinking positive thoughts, their light connects. When they're thinking bad thoughts about each other, hateful thoughts, their light reflects. I know that good brother Primordial Thought recently, his most recent class, his beautiful Nefer ritual to his future Sa, he showed Kirlian light in there. You can look at that and check that out. That was a fantastic class. This bluish passion from here, livid, meaning bluish, represents his ability to connect to these things that he is trying to accomplish with very much emotion. Very much emotion. He showcased these aspects during his battle with Tiamat, which is a great example because nobody could beat Tiamat. No one could beat her. She was undefeatable. All the Anunnaki thought that they were going to die. And he comes on the stage now. He's like, he's here and he's ready to fight. And he is really ready to fight because his life is on the line. The people around him, life is on the line. However, you can be ready to fight, but still relaxed in that bluish Kirlian light, that relaxed state, like a Tai Chi warrior. You're ready. You might be mad. You have passion to do what you have to do with the rush of force. However, you're relaxed and you're actually trying to connect with the person you are engaging, so that way you can stop them from doing whatever they are doing. So he showcased these aspects during his battle with Tiamat. In the case of the aspect of Marduk, that is MARUKKA, he showcased his fury in making Lulu man. Because once again, the people he cares about and the nation he's a part of, the civilization he's a part of, their existence is on the line. If he does not figure out what to do as the king, nobody's going to work. And then another rebellion is going to happen, and they're just going to have the same thing happen that happened with Tiamat. So he actually showed in a great manner by fighting Tiamat his fury, impetus, and lividness, and with creating Lulu man. The fourth Emgir in MARUKKA is this right here, which is Ka. The Sumerograms are Dug, Du, Gu, In, Im, I, Ka, Kir, Zu. The phonetic values, so no matter what Sumerogram they give you, is Ka. This will always be pronounced Ka. Now here, I want to show, we already went over Ma. We went over Ru. We ran over Uk. Now we're in Ka, the last part of this name, MARUKKA. Now, Ka has many different meanings that all connect to each other. So here you have mouth, voice, word, speak, nose, hyena, and tooth. So first we will go into mouth. Mouth, oral opening of an animal or human, opening of anything, a door, a gate. To project, on the notion of projecting body part, presuming a semantic shift from chin to mouth. So here we have oral opening of an animal or human, opening of anything, door or gate. Here we have to project, on the notion of projecting body part. And Marduk's specific name, MARUKKA, the word mouth represents Marduk's ability to project from the body part, being the mouth. Due to his projection of his will to create LULU man, he opens up a new door, gate, reality, to the world, Anuna, Igigi, and LULU man, literally by opening up and projecting from a body part. That projection can open up new doors. House of Aten opened up the door to I, a member of House of Aten, to present through sound vibration, through opening up their mouth. So here we can see, once again, Marduk opening up his mouth to give the command to form LULU man and reorganize the Anunnaki and Igigi. He counsels that which he had pondered in his heart. I will bring together blood and form bone. I will bring into being LULU man, whose name shall be man. I will create LULU man, on whom the toil of the gods will be laid that they may rest. I will skillfully alter the organization of the gods. Though they are honored as one, they shall be divided into two. Changing realities as we know it simply, well, when you look at the science, it's not that simple, but to people now simply by speaking with his utterance, creating what we see today. So now we'll go over voice, word, and speak. Voice, sound made by the human mouth. Voice, speech, word, saying, rumor, report. Voice, sound, utterance, cry, call, speech, sentence, language, word. To call, Proto-Indo-European root, wek, to speak. Word, the etymology of word is speech, talk, utterance, sentence, statement, news, report, word. From Proto-Indo-European, were, speak, say. Speak, the etymology of speak is to utter words articulately without singing, have or use the power of speech, make a speech, hold discourse with others. Etymology of speak, to speak, rumor, report, from has sometimes been said to represent a Proto-Indo-European root meaning to strew, on the notion of speech as a scattering of words. In Marduk's specific name, MARUKKA, the words voice, word, speak, in specifically the Ka of MARUKKA, represents his ability to use his speech, sound utterance, to utter words articulately in a powerful way, to spread his call throughout sentences, statements, and news in order to answer the cries and reports of others calling to him. In this particular situation, he answered the calls of too much workload for the Anunnaki and Igigi, thus leading him to use his leading him to speak with his voice and articulate words to form man. I've showed his words of creating man before because it is so important that people understand why human civilization is even here, why humans are even here, and why the Anunnaki are responsible for creating humankind on Earth. I will share this statement again, this Nefer ancestral artifact from the Enuma Elish. When Marduk heard the god's speech, he conceived the desire to accomplish clever things. He opened his mouth addressing Ea. He counsels that which he had pondered in his heart. I will bring together blood and form bone. I will bring into being Lulu, whose name shall be man. I will create Lulu man, on whom the toil of the gods will be laid that they may rest. I will skillfully alter the organization of the gods. All from his mouth. That is very powerful. And people today in the Matrix, they underestimate the power of words and to speak in the voice. But our ancestors did not. And history definitely does not underestimate this power here. We are in the last Mgir sign of MARUKKA. So now we're getting into the definition nose in Ka. Nose. Etymology. The nose of the human head, the special organ of breathing and smelling, from Proto-Germanic nuso, from Proto-Indo-European root nas, nose. Nose represents Marduk creating Lulu man and giving them, the Anunnaki and Igigi, life, because we breathe through our nose to stay alive. Giving the ability to breathe and smell to these newly created beings. Literally. I don't know if it says something like that in the Bible, but I've heard people say it where they're like, oh, you don't believe in God? He's the reason why you can see and smell and taste and all that stuff. Their God didn't even exist. Maybe consciously as a fed entity. Marduk literally gave orders to allow our body to have olfactory senses. Literally. That is powerful. He created new beings and gave them the ability to smell and breathe in this form. By Marduk creating the Lulu man, he became the breath to the Anunnaki and Igigi because he created something that the Igigi and Anunnaki needed to live. Breathing through the nose also purifies the air passing through the nasal passageway. Marduk too purified the Anunnaki and Igigi of their burdens. By creating man, Marduk affected the behavior and interpersonal relationships of the Anunnaki, Igigi, and Lulu man, and their affliction to certain groups. The olfactory system is responsible for smelling, does the same exact thing. I did not want to get too carried away with this presentation, so you can go do research on the olfactory system and how it is responsible for actually changing the behavior of people based off of what is going within your nose, and it actually affects your interpersonal relationships. And Marduk, this form of him, MARUKKA, also did the same thing to the Anunnaki, Igigi, and Lulu man. He affected their behavior and created interpersonal relationships. These are the reasons why This part of him, Ka, is associated with the nose. Here, for the National Library of Medicine, the most significant role of olfactory signals in humans appears to be the modulation of their behavior and interpersonal relationships, of their affiliation to certain groups or social classes, having a major influence in their taste and personality. What does tooth mean? Because if we recall, Ka, one of the definitions of Ka is tooth, teeth. So what is etymology of tooth? Human or animal tooth? Proto-Indo-European root, dent, tooth. Teeth have many uses, such as biting and chewing, that can be related to Marduk and his accomplishment of creating man. However, today, for this presentation, I will look at the importance teeth have on speech and speaking, because that is what allowed him to get this name. MARUKKA, the one who created them, who put the Anunnaki and Igigi at ease, all because he spoke. So here, incisors, which are you can point towards yourself, but it's towards the front of the teeth, next to these two here. This 1, 2, 3, 4, these ones. Next to the canines. Incisors. In the middle of the mouth are the incisors. The front teeth, they make the th, f, and v. The tongue and airflow, while making these sounds, depend on the incisors' alignment and location. Any misalignment or abnormalities with the incisors might cause speech problems, since the tongue may not make contact. So you can try yourself. This is how important teeth are to speaking. You can go th, and imagine you didn't have these 4 top teeth up here. You couldn't go th. Try going f and v and v as well. You will see how important those 4 teeth up there and the bottom 4 as well are to speech and pronouncing certain things. You wouldn't be able to say the, wouldn't be able to say fake, wouldn't be able to say vine, because you wouldn't have the incisors. Canines. Canines are sharp, pointed teeth on each side of the incisors. These assist in guiding the tongue and smoothing sound transitions, but they do not shape speech sounds. So if you speak, you can feel your tongue be guided by your canines. If you didn't have your canines, things might not sound as smooth, because your tongue will not be guided in the way that it is because of the canines. And these are tests you can do on your at home right now on yourself. You can try these out, try saying these things, speak. Anytime you speak, you can think about it. Teeth are very important. So most definitely go watch Sabatuti's class about gingivitis, because you do not want to lose your teeth. Premolars are premolars. These are behind the canines, come next. These teeth help pronounce sh, ch, and z. Their location and shape stabilize the tongue for proper articulation. The premolars. Premolars help you say sh, ch, and z. Teeth are very important when it comes to speech. Now think if Marduk had no teeth. Like that. When people to speak. So he needed good teeth in order to give out these commands, especially when he's speaking a language that's way more ancient and deep than the English language we are speaking today. So here, molars, the rear of the mouth's muscular, The rear of the mouth's molars crush food while chewing. Although not directly engaged in speech production, their alignment and stability are crucial for good oral posture, which might affect speech quality. So your molars help structure the rest of the teeth, so they're in the perfect position. It's like the foundation. So that way the rest of the teeth are in the position they need to, so that way you can do various different things. In this case, speak correctly. So here, teeth, we can see teeth are extremely important. And this is why in the M gear, the same word for teeth is the same word for word and speak and voice. This is why teeth are associated with this aspect of Marduk, MARUKKA. Here we can see the immense importance teeth have in speaking. This relates to Marduk's ability to smoothly articulate his sound utterance from his mouth to give commands that alter reality and history. So take care of your teeth, for sure. Now, one of the definitions for Ka was hyena. This one took me a lot of time. It was definitely challenging. I had to do a lot of studying to figure out, what does hyena have to do with Marduk's creation of man? What does a hyena have to do with speaking, with your voice, with your nose, and all sorts of different things within Ka? What does it have to do with it? And why did they add a word on this name, MARUKKA, being the Ka? Why did they add a word where one of the definitions is hyena? I had to start to very much so think like the Sagiga. They lived amongst the hyenas. They lived amongst the lions. They observed these animals. I would think they know more than scientists do today, because they live with them for thousands of years. So here, hyenas are socially complex creatures and have a wide range of ways to communicate. One of the many ways they communicate is with their vocals. It says here, laugh or giggle vocalization. Spotted hyenas show incredible signs of intelligence that rival most wild animals in Africa. In fact, hyena intelligence is thought to mimic the evolution of our own human intelligence, with complex social behaviors driving brain evolution. In experiments, spotted hyenas have even outperformed chimpanzees in collective or group problem solving, showing that in some ways hyena intelligence may even exceed some of the great apes in certain aspects. Anyone who has spent in total, there are over 11 distinct vocalizations, with some scientists claiming there are up to 28 vocalizations from hyenas. Regardless of the count, the presence of complex and diverse forms of vocal communication owes to a complex and intelligent animal. So hyenas are extremely intelligent, outperforming chimpanzees. Their evolution of intelligence is thought to mimic human intelligence as well. And they are extremely great communicators. And this communication actually helps them form a complex social order. The Anunnaki and Igigi and Lulu man lived around these animals and observed them. They would have saw the social complexity of these animals, how their being the hyena clan ranks members, raises offspring, and how they communicate vocally and non-vocally. Marduk's aspect of creating man relates to the aspect of how a hyena communicates. His ability to express himself through various vocal tones and non-vocal actions, resulting in the creation of the human race and establishing a new ranking system. Similarly to how hyenas do things as well. They have various different matriarchs who use different vocalizations to organize the way that their packs are through vocalization and through actions such as biting, fighting, and various other things as well. Marduk shows the attributes too of a hyena when it comes to the clan system, how even offspring are raised, and how the communication works. So thus, the meaning of here, MARUKKA, is far too complex to translate into a sentence or a paragraph. Each Imgir in MARUKKA represents Marduk's aspect of being the God who created them, who put the Anunnaki at ease, the Igigi at rest. MARUKKA LULU Banu Shunu Shuma Mutib Libi Anunnaki Mushap Shihu Igigi. You cannot translate MARUKKA in a sentence, in a paragraph. There are actually books out that, if you are interested, you can research yourself about the 50 names of Marduk, and they're not sentences, they are pages long, because the Sagiga were very intertwined with nature, with life, so they make sure that the words are intertwined with the actions that someone is doing before and after, and with other things that associate with those actions. It is very complex. Thus, MARUKKA cannot be translated within a sentence or paragraph. This is why I had to go into each Imgir individually to go into why each Imgir was chosen for this second name of Marduk, and he has over 50. The advancement of our ancestors is supreme, and the people today, unless you are a follower of Ma, there's no chance that they're going to get to that, like any Matrix person or any archaeologist or anything is going to really truly get even close to thinking and understanding like our ancestors. You have to walk in their footsteps. At the House of ATTON, that's what we do. We walk in the footsteps of the Neteru. We walk in the footsteps of our ancestors. And one of those ancestors is Marduk. This concludes my class on Marduk and the meaning of his names. In this class, I went into specifically the second name. So everything had to do with the second name. I was not the way that the ancestors wrote it. They did not make it where that name had to do with him being born and raising cattle on a farm, which is a whole nother story, or anything like that. It had to do specifically with him, Marduk, creating man and putting the Anunnaki and Igigi at ease, specifically. So in this class, I went over the meaning of his name, MARUKKA, specifically the second name, MARUKKA, Henu, to the eternal, all-powerful creator of all mankind, through his authoritative command, Lugal Kur, king of the lands, Marduk. And I will end with a hymn to Marduk. This can be found if you look up a hymn to Marduk for Abi Ishu. King who gathers up the divine powers of heaven and earth, foremost son of ENKI, Marduk, mighty lord, perfect hero, foremost of the great princes, strong one of the Anuna, the great gods who have given him justice and judgment, great prince, descendant of holy An, Lord who decides destinies, who has everything in his grasp, wise, august, knower of hearts, whose divinity is manifest, who shows concern for all that he looks upon. Your ancestor An, king of the gods, Anunnaki, has made your lordship effective against the armies of heaven and earth. He has given you the supervision of great august commands of heaven and earth. He has bound to your hand the shepherd's crook that curbs the foreign lands. He has made you excel among the great gods, and in addition has given you to control them. The royal scepter, the ritual ordinance of the gods, Enlil has fixed as your destiny kingship over the totality of heaven and earth, and has relieved you of any rivals. He has made you eminent among the Anuna, and has bestowed on you the exercise of domination. Marduk, in all quarters of the heavens they have made shine forth like Utu, the lordship of Prince Abi Ichu, the beloved son of your heart, and have relieved him of many rivals. The lordship of the hero standing in all his strength upon his august pedestal is indeed eminent in heaven and earth. The lordship of Marduk standing in all his strength upon his august pedestal is indeed eminent in heaven and earth. Henu to Marduk. Hotep, I am done. If you would like to know more about Marduk, specifically about Marduk, if you would like to know more about his names, if you would like to know more about any other Anunnaki, let me know in the comments or live chat. I will make a part 3, or I will make a class on another Anunnaki. Tua for your attention. Henu, great ancestor Marduk, you are powerful, alive, eternal, and here to bring back the truth. Hotep Ankuja Seneb, Tua for your attention. Henu to all the ancestors for all that they have done and continue to do. I'm extremely grateful for all of them. Hotep Ma'at.
Hotep, great brother. All right. Okay. Let me come to the screen.
Yeah, we're here, and we're the best.
All right. Excellent job, great brother.
Tua very much.
Inika. Okay. There we go. All right, Hotep Henu. That was phenomenal. Here, let me put the link in the chat for anyone who would like to come up and give some words. So yes, great brother, Tua, for that wonderful presentation that you just brought forth, and in the depth that you go into when doing your research to attain clarity And like you said, um, the ones who, show these words and then just say, this means this. Uh, it's so far removed from, because one of the greatest things that I learned from Saba Tehuti is to dive deeper into that consciousness again of asking why. Okay, it means that, but why does it mean that though? And that's what they do not touch in these scholarly places. It's and when they do, it's never in as depth as something that you just gave, and taking each sound vibrational tone, which is one syllable. And that's one reason why I love the ancient languages, is because they're able to take something that is so complex and condense it down to one syllable by creating the symbol. And that's another great thing I love that you pointed out, is that the Imigir language originally was also a pictographical language. It was images, and then later became the more just the wedgie thing, but it definitely started out as images. And that's why I love the languages, because I love the concept of being able to take something deep and simplify it, and for it just to be one tone, and then to have a sound. While today in English you have these words that are super extensive, and they'll and it doesn't matter what these words are. It can be a really long word, but when you know the root sound of these words, you're able to listen to any word and understand what the actual root of that word is, because you understand the sound vibration of the foundation, and it takes all the intimidation away from language. So I love how you just section off each part of the name MARUKKA, and just give a class through each tone. That was fire, and that's the type of meticulous, deep diving research that I love to see great brothers like you and great sisters do, because this is what it takes to really begin to pull your mind out of the matrix, and how they bring forth scholarship and how they try to teach the ancients and what they brought forth. And most people are just removed from the fact that because they existed and walked the planet, and there's documentation of the peoples who are closest to that in telling the story, that gets lost, because the mindset of the Homo sapiens sapien today is so minute that they don't understand their own ability to be able to do what they call supernatural things. So they cannot comprehend how something can exist like that, how they can live so long, and how they can create this, and how they can fashion. And that's why it's a beautiful thing to see someone such as yourself, a representation of when someone sees a youth and someone who's doing the research and doing the work, that is not, people don't take it that serious. So you definitely take it serious, and I truly love and appreciate that, and to be able to see that from you. So hinu to you for doing that. Yeah, I mean, we can go into a lot. That was fire. So I love the part about the figs and the wasp. I love when nature, you just see the symbiotic relationship between nature and how it's all connected in such a beautiful way. it's just so nefer to see that, and to understand that how for everything to exist the way that it does, it's in a natural relationship with each other. There's a respect between each consciousness that is expressed in what we know as physical form. And this is why I love nature too, because you see certain birds with, they have these large mouths that open up to be able to collect. Looking at just nature, especially sea life, it keeps your mind very creative to what's possible. Because it's when you see certain things and how things work, it takes you out of just the normalization of what people like to consider anything extraterrestrial looking. But seeing and watching nature, studying animals and sea life and flowers, and now we have the ability to be able to see flowers breathe. It's just a beautiful thing. So I love that point. I love that part that you showed. I love how you went into the binding aspect, and speaking about the formation and the creation of bones and blood, and fashioning the human as they know him today. As there's more people than not that open up a King James Bible and begin to read and see this story, and without any information of what you just brought forth, just take that as fact. Like you said, they'll say, you know why you woke up this morning, brother? God woke you up. you know why? That's God. And it's great to be able to bring something like this to people who's never read this, who don't know, that these stories and originate thousands of years prior to any type of biblical Christian Hebrew biblical writings, and that all these cultures, just as you said, when it comes to the Greeks and why they're so angry, and why they had to write themselves, and even the Romans. I showed in my class where the Romans said, we can't, there's no one amongst you Greeks who we can look at as an old man, speaking of like an elder with wisdom of history, because they don't have it. And that's just the facts. And so, they had to document and write themselves in history. And so now they did a great job, because now it's all people look to when it comes to anything historical, So to for that, and going into that, I love to bind in the positive aspect, because of course they've taken it and used it in a negative way. But it's just like anything else, there's a principality to it. And I also love it because of in Tehuti's name, it means to bind, because it's like a book, like the bind on a book. So it's very powerful to offer that. I love the part about Ru, to remove. I love to remove too, and all of what that means, which is also very personal to me, because Ani or Anu also means to remove in the Medu Neter. So it's and I always say that, I've always walked with that, decapitate Isfet head, remove it, and the removal of Isfet to replace it with Ma'at, and that being Ru, and going into Ra, how that then became La and Li. This is all important information because people dedicate their lives to this stuff. Hey, first thing people always ask is, what's your sign? What is that? What's your sign? What do you mean, what's my sign? It's like, it's not even what's your zodiac sign. It's like the zodiac has taken over all signs ever. And, and this is a great base way to be able to connect people back to the source. Because, it comes from somewhere. And we know where it comes from, and we teach it. And you've done a great job of doing that as well. So just Tua for taking your time and going through these tones and giving people the doorway and showing some sources as well for people to do their own research and to dig and to go forth and understand that when you're reading something, a translation, that it's such a small, a tiny bit of information of what's really being said. And this is why it's important to go and learn the languages, look at the languages and understand them. If you truly want to respect this information, you have to take your time to look at what it's really saying. And so I love how you always show the language. It's very important. So Tua, great brother, Hinu to you. Fantastic job. Part 2. I don't think there's no information like this on Marduk as accurate, ancestral, digging into what it is that they actually created these words for. Because another great thing you pointed out is that the names have meaning. Where it's not like today, Jeff, hey, my name is Tony. What does that mean? And I always ask that too. You know what that name means? You're like, no. So what if that name means mass murderer? You're gonna walk around with, no. I like the sound of it. But no, that's not how we did things. The name came from the frequency in which you carried. It's a representation of you. And we always understood. And now to catch up and learn, this is our vibration. This is what creates and makes up the fabric of our reality: sound and light, tone, vibration. So you definitely want to carry a rin that you know what it means. So Tua and Hinu, great brother. For that, Nook Poo says, I can't believe I've been eating wasp. Yes, great brother. Just add a little crunch to it. That's all. So yes, if anybody would like to come up, please do, or make sure that you all are supporting this class if you're here with us live, and for those who will be watching on the playback, because I'm pretty sure that this class will do great and will reach what it needs to reach. So Tua and Hinu. So yes, great brother Tua, Hotep. Fantastic. Got a lot of beautiful information from this. I'm happy that you brought this forward and that you were doing what you were doing within your life to be able to be brought forth in the frequency of Saba Tehuti and continue to be here within the House of Aten as a Nefer Karu member, and choose this platform to bring your information forward. So Tua and Hinu.
Well, very much for your absolute Nefer words. I knew you like this one because of the scribal stuff. You're going into the M gear. Well, very much for your Nefer words. There's no other place I would rather be, even if there was another organization. I don't want to be there.
I care about you. I care about all the other brothers. I care about Sabatuti. I care about everybody in the House of Aten. It's a very personal connection. So this is where I want to be. This is where I'll always be. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be guided here by the Neteru, by the Anunnaki, and all other ancestors. I'm very appreciative of it. 12 very much. You always got great notes for all the classes, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
When I was watching your class, something I thought about that I had told on to was, it applies to this one too, it's like the Greeks, it's like they went to the Nile Valley, they go to what they call Sumeria, and they go and you got these people saying like, yeah, you know, you got these ancestors, they're supreme beings, they can do all different types of stuff. Actually, do you see that red planet up there? Yeah, they used to be on that planet called Mars, and it's like, and the Greeks are probably like, what? They're probably like, what are you talking about? And they're like pointing at that red star up there. They're like, yeah, you know. And then they're like, we were up there. That's where our ancestors were. It's like they start telling the story of Asar and Ra and Haribahuta and all this stuff. And the Greeks are probably like, yo, no. They're like, nah. They're like, we don't got nothing like that. They turn over to the turn back to the other Greek man. They're like, yo, we gotta start making stuff up quick.
Yep. I can see that vividly.
Yeah.
First, we gotta learn how to speak. First, we, you know, like you said, there's no R rolling. We're with la 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 la. Hey, look at la. You know. So baby step, but as soon as they start to catch it, they're like, yeah, we got to do something about this. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing that we have access to this today, and we're able to rip that out and produce the root, produce ma'at, the truth, back where it belongs. There's been so much thievery, and it's so just funny, but that is not funny, you know. That, you know, today we have to talk about copyright and intellectual property, and, you know, get your trademark, and they stole it all. They stole everything, to be able to now establish and force you to have to buy it, some type of freedom back. So, you know, there's a reason why they got up out of here, because, you know, when you're here for as long, see, people don't understand. Like, they think history is just, you know, 6,000 years, and we take into account what we know from what the great ancestors left. You know, it was time to move forward, just like, you know, as you said, it went from that planet to this planet, and it's time to keep moving. We keep moving forward, and so that's a topic that can get real deep. But yeah, Tua Hinu, great brother, Hotep Antu, welcome to the panel. Hotep sister, peace.
Hotep, this was very, very great. I loved it very much. You did a great job. I love that it was an adoration and an offering to Marduk, and your adoration at the ending was very nefer. It was very powerful, and I love that it shows everyone who's watching and everyone in the future that we live what we say. So we say that the Neteru exist, and we say that the Anunnaki exist, and here we are with this beautiful offering. Anu had a beautiful offering for Marduk with his class, and everyone here did participate to that, and that is very nefer, and I really love that. And yes, they do exist, and we are restoring the truth and eliminating the false reality. Anu was digging and digging, and he brought us back to the original states that it existed and still exists in, without the matrix on top of it. So I'm very thankful for you for taking that away and bringing us back to the originality and restoring this truth and giving this offering to Marduk. I love all the etymology and you explaining to us that it was Marduk's idea to create man again and instilling that in our minds to remind us again and again, and giving this power back to him and eliminating the game that they created and showing what it really is. So I'm very appreciative for all that you do, Anu, for all of this and all that you will bring in the future. To very much. What's up, Mary?
To very much for your nefer words. It definitely keep me going, keeping me consistent like men, holding up my dejed. To very much. You know how much you do. What's up, Marie?
What's up? And to everyone who is watching and participating, I really appreciate that. That's very nefer, and it builds the connection within the House of Aten with each other, and I love it very much. So to everyone here.
To everyone here for all of your attention, for allowing yourself to absorb this information, for allowing yourself to learn more about Marduk, and for doing it here at the HOA. Because I heard Salvatore say one time that for motivation, he goes and he looks to see if anyone else is answering what he's answering. And he sees all the nonsense and stuff, and he starts to get man, I gotta bring this out to the people. Everyone else is lying. So Tua for coming to the HOA and learning this, because personally I heard what Tootie said, and I went and I did the same thing, and there's a lot of nonsense out there, especially when it comes to describing Marduk Amar Utu's names in detail. There's a lot of just Gish Gallup made up beautiful AI videos and stuff like that. So Tua for coming to the House of Aten to learn this, and Tua for supporting.
Yes, absolutely. Tua Henu, I will show some of the support that has come through to everyone who's here and who supports this information. It's very powerful. And yes, I agree with you. It's actually enhanced my discipline in going into different avenues of where information is given, because of that exact reason. And just seeing how there's a multi-layered anger, because you're angry at the person who's lying, and then there's the person who's blatantly doing it, and then there's the person who don't know that they're doing it, and that the information that was given to them, now you have to look at that, and you keep going back, and you realize how embedded the lie is. And some people really want the truth, and they're just doing what they think is the truth at the time. And that's why we're all here, because you just continue to dig. You don't stop at what you think you know to be the facts, and then that you just stay there, you stay stuck. No, you continue to dig and you correct. I mean, when you're in the matrix like this, there's going to be 1,000 corrections until you get good enough with your ma'ah and cleansed enough and pure enough to be able to see directly through any form of isfet. And it's definitely enhanced my own discipline and being able to come forth with the netter acts in a calm, being calm while you're utilizing the anger and not out of control. And you learn that from a lot of master martial artists, and being able to channel your emotions and utilize them in a controlled, complete, relaxed way, but still utilizing that fire to bring forth what's necessary. So to our great brother for sharing that. Yes, I agree with you 1000%. Okay, let's show this to the great Mur. House of Atten, Cash App, PayPal, for everyone who is watching and everyone who's watching on the playback. Peace and love. And so, yes, we got a couple supports to show. So I will show them, and let's give our adoration to the great Meru. And we'll start with the great brother Nukpu, who sends in 333 for Hinu, Karu, Per, Aten, Hinu, Neter, Anu, Hotep, Mari, Ma'at.
Yo, let's go.
Yes, Hotep, Hinu, great brother Nukpu. We definitely appreciate you and all that you bring to the House of Aten. NFL instead of NFR. Yeah, they done took the Nefer and turned it into a football league. What are they doing? Yes, great brother. Tua Hinu, for this great brother. We appreciate you. We appreciate you, great brother. So Tua. Also give a Hinu to Big Blunt, who is in the building. Guess he has those big blunts. I knew he's a good teacher. Peace, great brother. Appreciate you being here in the chat. We've seen Boss Fee in here, Black Alucard, Hotep, great brother. Tua for being here and supporting as well. Follower of Ma'at, Hotep brothers. Peace and love to you, follower of Ma'at. Love that name. Great brother, we appreciate that. Minty Hotep, Hotep Hinu, House of Aten. Hotep to you, Minty. Always great to see you. Dua. All right, and next we shall show the wonderful great brother Ox Effect, who is just absolutely great on every level. Hinu to this great brother who sends in 2072 for Hinu Anu Dua for the Nefer presentation on MARUKKA.
And yes, the Hekau really works.
They are the grandest creators.
Hotep. Tua, Ox Effect, the calm one with the axe. Hinu to you, great brother. Tua for supporting and being a wonderful, great member of the House of Aten. Kuru, Meru, you support every class, everything that the House of Aten brings forth. So you're definitely doing the works, and Tua for your consistency and showing up the way that you do every week. Every week, great brother. So Hotep Hinu Makaru, I hope that your lovely lady is doing well, doing great as well. Sending her Uncle Jasaneb. So Tua to you, great brother. We appreciate you. All right. So let me. Okay, so yes, those are the two supporters. We appreciate Ox Effect and Nukpu for supporting this class. And as this class goes out, as you know, your first Marduk class did great, and I expect this one to do great as well, because there's a lot of people looking for this, and there's not a lot of teachers like yourself who's going into the language and teaching from the perspective of the ancestors. So as what we do at the House of Aten and bringing forth ancestral artifacts over religious opinion, those who are truly digging for the truth and really want the truth will find us. And you know, there's always going to be those who it happens a lot where people will spout their opinions in a debate like form, and hey, the link is posted. Anybody can come have a conversation, and you know, we'll see how it goes. So Henu, Hotep to everyone, peace and love, show support. Everyone, make sure you hit the like button. Those who are watching on the playback, share this to the platforms that you are on. We appreciate everyone. And yes, we have Ma'at Fundamental Friday class coming up on the 12th. Hope to see all the great Karu there. We're gonna be going into some deep. The classes are fire. They're very deep, and I look forward to what I have planned for you all and presenting that to everyone. Soon we'll be getting into Amen and Mope, taking our time with that, and some few other beautiful Sabait. So Friday, my fundamental class. Saturday, the Tehuti pod class. Make sure everyone is there. Make sure everyone is subscribed to Tehuti, the Tehuti pod class. And Sunday, we also go live, and the great brother Primordial Thought 9 will be giving his class. So very powerful. Hotep Henu, great brother Anu, Tua for coming up here and teaching, bringing forth some very powerful information, and giving people the truth, giving people the facts, and showing them by doing it by example, you know, how to research and how focused we have to be to really clear out and clean out all of the confusion. And we really do have to chip away. And you do that very nefer. So Tua for that. Tua Antu for supporting the great brother Anu and making sure that his Djed is firm and strong and straight. Your hands are what allow this great brother to come forth as he does. So Tuan Henu to you for that. And I will let you close out, give us some great closeout words, and then we'll close out the show.
Me first or Antu?
Either, whichever y'all would like to do.
Okay, Tua, Hotep, and Henu to everyone here and everyone who is watching on the playback. Tua for your attention and putting it within this beautiful Nefer class within the House of Aten. Tua for learning with us and examining with us and growing. Tua for healing and taking your attention away from Isfet and the Matrix. Tuatu Anu for all that you've done within this class and all of your other classes as well. Your energy is very potent and very influential. So I'm very thankful for you coming up on the House of Aten to extend this Nefer intelligence that you have to the people, and Tua for giving this adoration and offering to the ancestors. So Tua for all that you're doing, and Tua to Ani for all that you do within the House of Aten. Tua for all of the workings behind the scene and making the Nefer website as well. You do a lot, so Tua very much. What's up, Henu?
Tua, to the HOA, to the wonderful Sabatudium and Hotep Ra, to all of the viewers and supporters, to everybody who views now And on the playback, to our HOA for allowing me to present this here for the ancestors. To Ani for all that you do behind the scenes. Henu to you. Hedu Atef for all that he does behind the scenes. You know, he's the family man. So to him. To Menku for all that he does behind the scenes, for being the festival organizer. To very much. To Primordial Thought for all that he does behind the scenes. Out here making sure he raises up in that first saw. So to for that very much. To everybody who supports. To our wonderful Saba Tuti for being who he is, for being alive, healthy, prosperous, and being the Saba. To all of the Netter, all of the Anunnaki. To Marduk for giving me a divine inspiration and a pathway to make this class. And to all the people who tell lies about him because you motivated me. To hopefully motivate future people too. I will end with a hymn to our wonderful Saba Tuti. E Tehuti, E Netiru, Setau, M, Yao, N, Neb, He, Inayu, Hurt, and Tuat. Hail Tehuti, hail netters who row in the boat of the Lord of a million years, who lead it above the underworld, which is the Tuat. They call it underworld. Hotep, Mary, Uncle Justin,
Uncle Justin Neb, great brother. Tua Henu, to everyone, peace and love. Thank you for the support. Nukpu, sending you much dua, great brother, for just being present. Henu to you. Yes, great job, Anu. Fantastic job. Looking forward to just watching your flourishing take place, and as well as you, Antu. It's a very beautiful thing. So Tua, everyone, for your attention. Without your attention, this does not exist. Sakim M. Arit, Murder Ka'a, Simu Hatuna Tiru, Pert Int Hetep. I obtain the power to do what pleases my Ka. May the hearts of the Natiru lead me. I come forth in peace. And we shall close out with the lovely affirmation. Great brother Anu, you can close us out.
To very much. Ankh E M Ma'at Un N S Nin Tet Aset M Ma'at Min Hepupet M Ma'at Her and Hukui Per Ikut. I live for Ma'at. I exist within her. I do not speak in the place of Ma'at. Every day I advance towards Ma'at. My being is surrounded in darkness. I come forth as conscious light.
You are watching a master at work.
Humans have asked us to play by their rules.
You see, that's how it's done.
Yo, let's go. Yo, let's go.
Shed. Closed my eyes, then I woke up back in my bed. I can see my room as clear as looking through a lens. See, I thought I was awake, so then I tried to move, but my body shocked me like I was plugged in a socket. I started panicking and scrambling within my mental. I thought I died and now my body, I'm forever locked in. I was screaming, help me, someone help me please. But there wasn't any sound making it through my teeth. I could see movement in motion, shadows gather around me. How could I close my eyes already closed. Eating alkaline at this time, fasting rezo shocking. I was stuck in a paralysis, fear had me froze. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed. I finally started waking up and coming back. I was in the opposite of state's effect. That's relaxed, I grabbed my phone and started to do research. Knowledge of what happened, I was in a lack. Insidious, the movie came direct to mind. Every time I've seen this, it was connected to what's not divine. Demons crawling forcefully, holding the body down. Ain't no point in trying to scream, you will not make a sound. Deep within, I knew I made that a reality. The all is mine, I saw it, and so shall it be. I start replacing fear with knowing universe is mental. Talking to my subconscious to wake me up in dreams. Then one day my spirit guides came in so essential. Daylight's astral playing loud in my dream helped to set me free. I'm back in paralysis laying on my couch. But this time I was calm, ready to exit out. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed. From what I read, I need to move my arms in front of me. See a rope and pull it, separate and then release. Now I'm out, I see my house is gleaming, I accept it. Looking in the mirror, staring at my car's reflection. I was so ecstatic, flying in every direction. This was months of subconscious reprogramming and redirection. Place my thoughts in my body, wake up, that's what I did. I was reborn from that day so I could start to live. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed.